Old clubs are in vogue here because our focus is Richmond inside four walls that you know well. How did you endure Saturday night?
Oh, I think, look, it's, what am I, 8 months removed from Richmond. And it was painful to sit there, and I was working the game for Fox. And as much as it finishes in sort of like the bat of an eyelid, you finish your last game, everyone, your fanfare, and it was fantastic. It's like off into the sunset, but you don't lose the burn and the fire within. So it was really hard. It was really hard to sit here and watch the footy and make comment about people that were that are your best mates and were your teammates only 8 months ago. So it was a bit brutal, actually.
Sitting there thinking, I should be out there.
Yeah, I think there's an element of that. You go, oh God, you sort of, when you've been at a football club, and I spoke to Trent a bit about this actually, about when you've been at a club for such a long time and all of a sudden they are in a really poor situation. Well, not a poor situation, they're going nowhere near as well as they would like to be going. But the reality is that's where they're at, and that's the cycle of AFL football. But to sit there, sort of this yearning of going, oh, you wish you could help, but also you got to go, hey, it's someone else's turn now. So that's just that probably that struggle with inside myself, and it happens probably with every player that leaves a football club, and then when they've been there a long time and they go poorly, it's like, oh, I want to help, but you also got to, hey, you just got to let go.
Get busy doing it.
I watched you. I felt your pain. I could see your pain on Saturday night. And I thought, look, how do you be critical? You were collectively critical of the group. I want you to knuckle down on some of the players. What are those senior players, what are they going through in your mind right now?
It's tough. I think your purpose needs to change. There's no doubt about that, because you need to take great solace in the fact that you've been successful and you've got that already in the bag. So your purpose at this football club now becomes about the younger generation who will be hopefully your next premiership players. The coaching Adam Uze, how can you possibly help him with his coaching and buy-in and setting up this Richmond Football Club for the next 5 to 10 years? So it is. You see there. I mean, Dusty Martin. There's still some experience in that side. Nathan Broad at the back there. Your whole purpose right now becomes about the team and the organisation. And in my instance, it was about playing VFL, helping young kids play VFL. Ruffy played VFL, helping young kids in the VFL, exposing other players. But your purpose changes. When you've been successful and you're going through a decline right now, and they haven't reached the bottom in that particular journey, it becomes about the club.
Does it have to become? You have to become very selfless in a different way, don't you?
I think the natural instinct when your back's against the wall and you might be out of contract, or you might have a whole bunch of things happening and you're not going well and you've experienced success, is you want to turn in and look after yourself. Now, knowing Richmond, the best person and the person I would look to, and it just reminded me of what Louis was saying then, is I would look to their player development manager, Ivan Maric. So 2017, Ivan Maric had come across from Adelaide sort of 7 years prior, and we'd been yearning to get this ruckman. We need a ruckman. So we finally got our ruckman in Ivan Maric. Now, 2017, he played VFL the whole year. Did not play one AFL game because Toby Nankervis had been traded from the Sydney Swans into the Tigers, and the way he went about that was exactly what Louis is saying. So right now, people would be thinking, wanting to naturally go, I want to go into survival mode. I want to look after myself. And we sort of spoke about it, maybe not at the same level, but the Bulldogs last week, about look after myself, look after my own backyard. But the best thing you can do in this time is turn out and bring someone else along for the ride.
But some of them are going to become a little bit selfish because some of them are going to leave. They're going to get offers, rightly, from other clubs to say, hey, don't stay there. Come and help us win premiership.
And that's the test of a professional athlete. So you look at other sports at the moment that are more transactional than AFL and transactional in season. So a lot of American sports are like that.
Yep.
You're still a pro, so you still got to do your job. Whether that is round 9, round 10 this week, or whether that is round 23, you're being paid to do your job, and that is on any professional athlete.
And they weren't pros last week, Jack. I know you played with them, but they weren't. I'm not asking you to be critical, but they let their coach down last week. They let their team down. And I think everyone who'd watched the Tigers build up this culture over the last 6-7 years were watching it thinking, what is this?
Yeah.
What is this?
I think you know...
It's not lost on them as well. It's not
Yeah.
lost on sides that get beat by 100 points that think they should be going better. They would come away from that game going, hey, you're saying they let a lot of people down. They would feel like they've let themselves down too. So that's the attitude. Like, what are we going to see the week after? What are we going to see when the grind gets harder and harder and harder as it does towards the back end of the season? Because they're not going to play finals this year. That's the reality.
So spin us to the coach and the predicament he finds himself in.
Yeah, I just think having sort of seen all these new coaches come in when there's been an era of success and the side isn't going so well, so they do change over these coaches. I think we should look more to the Paul Roos, Simon Goodwin setup, and the reason why I like that, and it's clearly not going to work every single time, but if you think the next premiership coach is, let's say in this instance, Adam Uze, if you can get someone in who can help him shape the list, buy this coach some time, so in 3 to 4 years, that is the time when the premiership coach that you've selected, you think that they can take this group to the next level. I mean, you look at Jack's side, it was 07 to probably 2011 to really, so it's 4 years of getting talent in. Hawthorn were 02 to 06, 4 years of getting talent. So to come in and try and coach and win and be at the top of your game in that first 4 period is hard. I quite like that type of setup for a side that's been up.
Twice as you did it, John Longmire with Sydney and Simon Goodwin, and they're both, you have to say both of them were ticks.
Yeah, I think in times like this, and there will be other sides that go through this type of setup, I think it's a really, really valuable thing to look at, to buy your coach time.
There is this, and this is what the draft is designed for, and this is what salary caps are designed for. The AFL does not want teams at the top forever. So this is the cycle of what it is. Now, the last cycle for Richmond was obviously a long one, 37 years before that premiership in 2017. But what it does do, if you flip it completely to the other end of the scale, is you sort of sit here a little bit more in awe of Geelong and Sydney to probably a lesser extent of how have they been able to regenerate and stay up for so long? Like, I think Joel Selwood, who got drafted the same year as me, and same with Hawke, they have played 15 years of final, or 16 years out of finals out of 18 in Hawke's example. Like that's a team that's, you just think and go, wow, how have they done it? Like, it is so hard to do. And Sydney were the same there.
But you're going to Tasmania, mate, and part of what you're going to be doing, what Brendan Gale's going to be doing, is to try and fashion how to build a successful team and maintain the successive team. Before we get on to that...
That's exciting.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what.
So I look at Chris... So when Chris Fagan's time is up at Brisbane, whenever that may be, I would think he would be a highly sought-after coach for that Paul Roos type of succession plan.
Yeah, he's going to be a rare commodity in the game, I think, when he decides his time is up. So Dustin Martin's 4 games away from 300. He is an iconic figure, and we try to treat our icons with great care. Where's he right now? What would he be battling through to your eye?
Knowing Dustin well, it wouldn't be sitting well with him, the fact that they're not going as well as he is. Now, he's such a quiet person externally. We very rarely hear from him, but the players that have played with him and the coaches that have coached him know that internally, Dustin loves to win. Now, that could be 9 holes at the Cheltenham golf course. It could be a handball game.
Just told everyone where he's playing.
He might have only played there once, I think. That could be, in the rooms at lunchtime, but that's AFL footy as well, is that he just loves to win.
So this is a big adjustment for him.
So it's a big adjustment for I think, for a lot of the senior players, but that's the reality of where they're at. So the choice is theirs. The choice is theirs to go, what do we want to do?
Do you suspect that he goes on past his 300?
I've got no idea, Robbo. And to be honest, you want to treat the icons with respect, is that, I'll tell you what I'm hanging out for. I'm hanging out for game 300. I'm hanging out to go there and pay tribute to someone who had a massive impact on my career and on my life.
Try football, mate.
And footy in general. Like, you think about all the generations of Richmond people he's connected, and potentially other fans that may like him, even though they don't go for the Tigers. I'm looking forward to that.